In Western Australia's Wheatbelt, less than half of the rain that falls actually reaches the seed. And as our climate dries, that loss is becoming the difference between a great harvest or a failed one.
We are a dry land farming operation 262 kilometres inland from Perth, so it's quite arid. There was a period at the start of May there where we were getting mid-30s. We're trying to plant crops into that.
For farmers like Andrew, every season is now a gamble, and with every dry year, the margin for error only gets smaller. Across the Wheatbelt, millions of hectares of farmland rely entirely on rainfall.
We're in a drying climate here. We've dropped nearly 20% of our winter rainfall in just this region alone in the last 25 years.
We all know that early established crops are a huge profit driver for us, and establishing those crops, it's one of the biggest challenges that we have in this drying climate.
We're getting lower rainfalls, differing seasons, out-of-season rainfall events, a whole range of things that we're always hearing about. But for us out here, it's actually our livelihoods.
WA produces about 45% of Australia's wheat. And if we do get the declining rainfall duration and intensity that's predicted, we potentially won't be able to produce wheat.
But what if you could stop the rain from evaporating and guide it straight to the seed?
I'm currently the project lead for a project called Smart Sprays, Maximising the Benefits from Rainfall. This project is looking at harvesting water from the mounds into the furrows by using a polymer spray sprayed on the mounds. And we're hoping to capture the smaller rainfall events that would otherwise be evaporated. I'm going to demonstrate what we're trying to achieve in the field. We've sprayed a biopolymer on this side and we've left this side without any spray. We'll rain on this side. And we'll see what happens is that the rain stays here, doesn't go into the furrow. But if I do it on this side, you can see how the rain is running off the mound into the furrow onto the seed. The substance is naturally hydrophobic, so we're using those characteristics to form a spray to allow the water to roll down the mound into the furrow.
So the biodegradable polymer is actually produced from bacteria in their gut naturally. So what we've done at the BIH is enhance this production and transformed it into a sprayable material that we can put out into the fields. One of the main things that we're aiming at is that these smart sprays are completely biodegradable because they're from a natural product and we're just harnessing the nature's ability. We are not putting any plastics or traditional plastics into the soil, leaving no lasting legacy of the microplastics or any chemical additives.
But proving it works at scale across millions of hectares is another challenge entirely.
So one of the biggest challenges is just the scale. Broadacre is so large. They don't really have anything in place currently that helps reduce water. So going from a lab scale, small 5 mils to going up to 500 tonnes of the product, there's so many different problems that you have to overcome.
And even if the science works, the real test is whether farmers can see themselves using it.
When we think about, well, what are the barriers for farmers to take on some of those new interventions or innovations, often it comes down to cost. But before that, you've got to show that it works. So we really need researchers to be, out here on research stations or in farming paddocks. Farmers are really keen to adopt. They will adopt fast if they can see it drives efficiency and it'll actually fix the problem that they've got.
I thank everyone for coming. This is really important that we get a good turnout. So my name's Cheryl. I work for Murdoch. I'm a research officer. As part of the project, I spoke at a number of the field days, attempting to gauge farmers' response to the demonstration. The overall response was that people are quite keen and interested in these new techniques.
Farmers have always been innovators. It's almost in their DNA. So being out here, we have to find a solution because no one's coming to help necessarily, or they're not going to be here today, tomorrow, or whenever.
And for the researchers behind it, preventing evaporation is only the starting point.
We might be able to functionalise the polymers and use them for another innovative idea. I guess if we get this right, we could potentially transform the agricultural space in the way that we harvest water.
Ideas like the smart spray won't succeed on its own. They need people willing to close the gap between the lab and the paddock.
We really need those bright, young, passionate researchers, and we need them to interact with the people on the ground, so the farmers directly. And I would say to those researchers, please come out. You will be welcomed, because every single bit of rain that falls now, we have to take advantage of.
I think this is a great project, because if we've got technology or an innovation that can sort of harvest more water and reduce evaporation to get the seeding bed right to grow more plant, biomass and then yield, then you go, well, that's a winner. There's a lot to like about it, and I think the future is bright with this type of work.